Hello there, my name is Hido and welcome to the Pantheon, where I'm nearing my 200th episode and we're having a look back on some of my favourite decks. Now, unfortunately, I don't actually have this deck anymore because I sold it. But I sold it years ago, so it was only, Hazezon was only worth about £40. Now, he's worth like 400 or something like that. So, proxy him if you ever want to play the deck. Don't pay that amount, it's ridiculous. Just write a bit of paper. But here's the man himself, Hazezon Tamar. He's a Naya commander and he's 7 mana for a 2/4. Whew! Now that's a good rate. But he's a summon legend, and on the next upkeep after Hazazon is put into play, your next upkeep that is, put X tokens, Sand Warriors, into play where X is the number of lands under your control. Treat the warriors as 1/1 white, green and red creatures. If Hazazon leaves play, all Sand Warriors are also removed from the game. So you exile all Sand Warriors. Right, there's a lot to unpack here, and it's cool the way that this deck can play with timings, because your commander comes in and it's only the next turn. It's very like what do you call it? Where you remove time counters each turn. Suspend. Yeah, it's very like suspend, because you know the counters are coming. The Sand Warriors are coming. You're gonna have a lot of Sand Warriors come in. And one of the coolest things about this deck is we don't want our commander on the field. He's a liability, because when the Sand Warriors arrive, if Hazazon is also there, well, you just kill Hazazon and all the Sand Warriors go. So it's very much revolving around playing your commander, sacrificing it straight away. You get your Sand Warriors, you get your triggers. Oh, I love it. I love it. And the fact that the Warriors are all 3 colours. Oh, there's so much to love about this. And I would love it if you'd please subscribe to this channel, because I'm making tons of videos just like this, coming up on 200, and plenty more to look at. Thousands more, if anything. So come and join me on the journey. Which brings me on to number 5. And at number 5, we've got rather a boring selection here, but ramp is really integral to this deck. And Vassa's Surge, I think, is one of the best cards for it. We want a lot of lands. 4 mana for a sorcery, kicker of 4. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. If this spell was kicked, put 2 1/1 counters on each creature you control. Now, we're going to be making a lot of lands. We want to make as many as possible, because that's going to get us a lot of tokens. Then, this is so fantastic because it grows our guys by +2/+2 as, the additional kicker. It is 8 mana, but when we're getting up there in terms of mana, our commander costs 7. So we're going to have at least 7 mana generally. We're going to get 2 extras and buff our entire team. So we could be looking at like 15 3/3 Sand Warriors. And then because our commander costs so much, we've got 2 more lands to be able to cast it again. Works perfectly. And to go along with that, we've got Hunting Wilds. 4 mana for a sorcery, kicker of 4. Okay, a lot of kicker going on here. Search your library for up to 2 forest cards, put them onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle your library. That's really cool because you can get dual lands and stuff like that. If the spell was kicked, untap all forests put onto the battlefield this way. They become 3/3 green creatures with haste that is still lands. Nowhere near as good as the previous one, but it's still quite a cool effect, and will have a decent sort of effect on the board. Maybe you're staring down a Planeswalker, that's 6 power that could take that Planeswalker down. So having modal ramp spells is really important, I think. Then, the best mechanic ever printed, that's right, Sorcerer. No, cycling. Migration's Path, 4 mana for a sorcery, search your library for up to 2 basic lands, put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Cycling for 2 mana. It's a very slow deck, so these 4 mana ramp spells, I don't really see a problem with it. I'd play a lot of 2 mana ramp spells and then ramp really properly on the next turn with my 4 mana ramp spells, especially because these guarantee lands on the field, which is what we need. Peregrination is another one. 3 mana for a sorcery, search your library for 2 basic lands, reveal those cards, put 1 onto the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand. Shuffle your library, then scry 1. Now, not as impressive as the other ones, but I do like that scry 1, and it's another option, maybe you'd not prefer to play this card. The artwork's lovely now. Look at that. Beautiful sunset. So worth highlighting there. So 4 mana ramp spells. 4 mana ramp spells. Which brings me on to number 4 mana ramp spell. And at number 4, Perilous Forays and Sacrifice Outlets, because I spoke about how our commander, we don't want him on the field because he's a liability to our Sand Warriors. Perilous Forays is a fantastic sack outlet that works wonderfully with the theme of the deck. 5 mana for an enchantment, pay 1, sacrifice a creature, search your library for a land card with a basic land type, put it onto play, tapped, then shuffle your library. Ooh, that's pretty goddamn good. Searching up lands is exactly what the deck wants to do, and we can sacrifice our commander. And the great thing is, a card like this, when we get all those tokens, guess what? We can sacrifice them to get more lands. It's just ridiculous. And because it's any land with a basic land type, we can get dual lands, we can get tri-lands. Oh, it's so good and fits the deck so perfectly. Wonderful card. Wonderful. Then we've got Omnath Locust of Rage to take advantage of all these land entering triggers. 7 mana, so, expensive for a 5/5. Landfall, when a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 5/5 red and green elemental creature token. Then when it or another elemental you control dies, it deals 3 damage to any target. So works brilliant with the sacrificing all your elementals. Works fantastic with all the lands. This card is an auto include in the deck. Wonderful. Oh, I just can't speak to how good it is in this deck. Then another 7 mana card. Dear God, we're top heavy. 7 mana, 5/5 is Avenger Zendikar. You all know this one. Enters, makes plants equals the amount of land you have. Guess what? We've got lots of lands. It's almost like this is a fixed Hazezon Tamar. Then landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may put a 1/1 counter on each plant creature you control. Nice. Then we've got Scoot Swarm for landfall triggers. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. If you control 6 or more lands, create a token as a copy of Scoot Swarm. Easily spiral completely out of control and win you the game on its own. Ridiculous from a 3 mana card. And lands, guess what? We're going to be playing them. So it's just phenomenal. It's just so good. Then another couple of sacrifice outlets that you might consider. Goblin Bombardment, 2 mana, sacrifice a creature. It deals 1 damage to target creature or player. Ridiculous. We're going to be getting up to like 15 mana on the field. That's 15 1/1s that we can just sacrifice to get, well, someone dead, really. It's amazingly good. And it sacrifices our commander as well. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Then Spawning Pit to fit with the token theme. 2 mana for an artifact, sacrifice creature, put a charge count on Spawning Pit. You do have to pay a mana, I'm afraid. Pay 1, remove 2 charge counters from Spawning Pit, put a 2/2 colour spawn artifact creature token onto the battlefield. So another great way of turning your tokens. Maybe you see a board wipe coming. You sacrifice all your tokens to this. Then you just, after the board wipe's cleared, the dust has settled. You can remove all the counters by paying 1 to create another board state. Brilliant. So good. Then finally we got Evelyn the Redeemed. No, Evolutionary Leap is a 2 mana enchantment, pay a green and sacrifice a creature. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put the card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Really, really great value. Just refills your hand. Maybe you've used all your ramp spells, getting your commander out there, and then this can just sacrifice your commander, sacrifice all of our tokens to just refill the hand. Great bit of value. So a nice token package with a sort of sacrifice sub-theme. And that brings me on to number 3. And at number 3, we've got Perforos, God of the Forge. Now, this, when I played the deck, won me the majority of my games. 4 mana for a 6/5 indestructible god. As long as devotion to red is less than 5, Perforos isn't a creature. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Perforos deals 2 damage to each opponent. Ooh. And pay 3, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Both modes there are phenomenal with our tokens. If we're having 15 tokens come in, that's 30 damage to each opponent. All you have to do is keep playing your commander, sacrificing it, and then just letting the tokens come in. Then guess what? We'll play our commander again. And just, you can stack it so many times. It's almost mean. And that's why I love it. And, you know, if you can't recast your commander for whatever more, maybe they played Nevermore or something like that, like the sadists they are, you can pay 3 mana to just give all your tokens a massive boost and swing in and kill your opponents. Then, Impact Tremors is another great version of this. 2 mana for an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So, half the damage of Perforos, but it's still a ridiculous amount of damage with the amount of tokens that we're going to be throwing out there. Then, well, if we're not dealing damage, let's just make them attack. Ogre Battle Driver is a 4 mana 3/3 Ogre Warrior. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, that creature gets +2/2 and gains haste until end of turn. So all of our 1/1 green, red, and white tokens will now be 3/1s. Swinging in for mega damage. Really, really good to see. Now, Levisor Cold Eyes is a interesting commander by herself. She's a 5 mana 3/3 human that says each creature that's a barbarian, a warrior, or a berserker gets +2/2 and has haste. So straight away, all of our sand warrior tokens are going to be coming in. I mean, I hope I've got that right. I hope they're not just sand warrior. That's the whole thing. I think it's sand and warrior. I might be wrong. Look it up. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. It's been years since I played this deck. And if I am wrong, I was wrong back then, so sorry. Then they gain haste, so you can swing in with all your 3/3s. Lovely. Oh, I've gone to the darkness. And that is my selection there. A really nice way to close out games, which takes me on to number 2. And at number 2, what have we got? We've got Titanic Ultimatum. Now, this card has been eclipsed, and there's much better versions of this card. But I love the artwork. It's so cool seeing the double red, the triple green, and the double white. It's a great game ender. Until end of turn, creature control get +5/5 and gain first strike, lifelink, and trample. Oh, giving all of our Sand Warrior tokens that and just swinging in, phenomenal. Even if we're not ending the game, the lifelink is going to really propel us up out into the stratosphere, and you know it's just such a cool card. I love it. Yeah, really good card. But here's, you know, that's the one you have at home. This is the Bugatti. Greater Hoof Behemoth is an 8 mana 5/5 beast with haste. When it enters the battlefield, creature you control gain trample and get +X/X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. We're going to have a lot of creatures. This is going to win you games. It couldn't be a green deck without it, could it? Then, this is another interesting one, which is more fun in my opinion. Knight of New Alara. 4 mana. Oh, almost undersold him. 4 mana for a 2/2 human knight. Each other multicolored creature you control gets +1/+1 for each of its colors. So all of those warrior tokens, Sand Warrior tokens, are 3 colors. Because they're red, the white, and the green. So they're going to get +4/+4, no, +3/+3 from this. Oh, fantastic. Even our commander gets +3/+3. Do we care? No, because he's just going straight back to the command zone. But this is a great card that fits with the theme of the deck. Love it. Then we've got Garruk Wildspeaker, another great overrun effect. 4 mana 3 loyalty planeswalker, +1, untap 2 lands. Ooh, accelerate into our commander maybe. Then -1, put a 3/3 beast into the play. Who cares? -4, creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample. Overrun. Hey! And it's on a planeswalker. So a great way of closing out the game there. And then Card of Calling. We've got a lot of tokens. Let's take advantage of the fact that they're just sitting there. Let's use them to convoke our spells. Triple green and X for an instant. Search your library for a creature card with converted mana class X or less and put it onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. I don't know. You could go and get Greater Hoof Behemoth. Oh, how interesting. Or Knight of New Alara. Nice. Then we're playing tokens. Hour of Reckoning is phenomenal. 7 mana sorcery convoke, so you can tap all of them, even if they've got summoning sickness. Destroy all non-token creatures. Hey! Even kills our commander. Get rid of him. I'm sick of seeing him. But a great card and works fantastically. Then March of the Multitudes. We're making tokens. Let's make a few more. 3 mana and X for an instant with Convoke. So you can tap all your creatures to help pay for its mana cost. Ah, they're nice, aren't they? Create X 1/1 white soldier creature tokens with lifelink. The lifelink could be quite important, could really yo-yo you back into the game. And there we go, there's a nice sort of end game and also sort of use for your tokens. Just a good token sort of package. Package. And that brings me on to number 1. And what have we got on number 1? Well, it's a card that I don't think would see play in pretty much any other commander deck. It's Shields of Velisvel. Ooh, I love it. 1 white for a tribal instant. Shapeshifter, so it's got Changeling. So this card is every creature type at all times. Okay. Creatures target player controls get +0/+1 and gain all creature types until end of turn. Okay, that's interesting. We're not really a tribal deck, but wait, there's a use. So when our commander dies, he exiles all Sand Warriors. All. Not just ours, our opponents as well. So if we've got our commander on the field and a sacrifice outlet in play, we play this on one of our opponents who's got 20 odd creatures. You know, Jeff over there, he's spiraling out of control. We need to put a stop to it. We cast this. Okay, John. No. What name did I give? Peter? I don't know. We target him, whoever he is, and all of his creatures become Sand Warriors. We then sacrifice our commander, and our commander exiles all of our opponent's creatures. Wonderful. Such a cool play. It's great. It's so, so good. And it's so perfect in this deck. I love it. I love it. Then we've got Solomon's Legacy. 2 mana for an enchantment. When it comes into play, bury all Djinns and Efreets. So yet again, we can turn all of our opponent's creatures into Djinns and Efreets. Then, whenever a Djinn or Efreet comes into play, bury it. That last line, I don't think will come up too much, but you never know when you'll get your opponent. So potentially, like a little 2-card combo there that could destroy all of their creatures. Yeah, wonderful. Then we're going even deeper. We've got Tivadar of Thorn, a commander I've always wanted to make a deck out of, but he's trash. 3 mana for a 2/2 human lord. First strike, protection from red. Ooh. When it comes into play, destroy target goblin. There we go. So this actually has a bit more use than, you know, the Djinn Efreet thing. You know, Kikijiki might be on the field. People like goblins, so it might have a hole. But you can combo it with Shields of Velisvel and destroy whatever you want. Then we've got Tivadar's Crusade. It's 3 mana, sorcery. Look at that poor goblin. Destroy all goblins. You know, this is if you want the deck to be a bit wacky, a bit weird, and, you know, it's... Well, these last 3 are. Shields of Velisvel is genuinely the best card in the deck, in my opinion. I think it just works phenomenally. The rest of these 3, just fun inclusions, you know, if you want to really get that Krenko player that you despise. And those are my top 5. I love this deck. I wish I could play it again. Maybe I'll buy... No, I won't. I'll just print out a copy of Hazezon. But please do subscribe and join me for more videos like this. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.